He's slowing.
And you may find that sometimes very creative people, there are some who have no ego about their creations. They do not derive their identity from what they create. Others have fairly big egos. That happens too. I believe the greatest creators in this world don't have an ego about that. Maybe they have it somewhere else, but not around that. And that sometimes means that they continue to be creative. So sometimes you see this modesty, which is lack of ego in people who have created something really great. Composers, poets, even some scientists like Einstein never developed an ego around what he came up with, the incredible realization about space and time. But he never developed this ego as I created that. There was relatively little conceptual self. And he found it absurd that he had become one of the most famous people on the planet, even in his lifetime. He just couldn't, it's so weird. And he talked about the gap between what people think of me and who I am is just incredible. And by the way, that's the last thing, that's also the place where you can manifest out of the power of presence. If you're linked into that presence, see what the universe wants to, because that presence is the presence of consciousness. Does it want to create something through you? Perhaps it does. But in that presence, everything is already present in an undifferentiated state. So whatever it is that you create externally is like the diluted form of something that in its essence, its concentrated non-form is already there in you. So whatever you can possibly create is already present on some level, on a deeper level. There have been composers who created the most incredible pieces of music, and many of them said that they listened as if it came out of that place of depth already fully created, and they just wrote it down.
Finish. Oh, difficult. What does he mean? Composers? What?
So basically,
so
basically, what he's he first example was about Einstein. So what people think of me, the difference of what people are thinking of me and who I am is incredible. What he's saying is that who I really am, the essential me, is so much more modest, so much more insignificant than what people think of me. People think of me as this Superman who invented very important theories about space and time, but that's not who I am. I am not a great person. I just happen to convey these things. I happen to convey these things is also what he uses in the example of the composer, for example. The composer truly great composers and creative composers, they do not see themselves as the inventor of that music. They hear that music somehow in their soul. They feel that their creation is more or less a diluted presence, as he says. So diluted impression of what is inside them. They hear that music and they just write it down because it's kind of given to them. It's not really something that they had worked very hard on to come up with. It's something that they heard and they just had to write it down. That's just it. That was their role in creating that music. Now, Einstein had that same thing in his relativity theory. So it's not the ego. Some people identify with their achievements, with the theory of relativity, the music that they have composed, and other people, they take more distance of the things that they produced and the people who they are, and thereby remaining much more modest and much closer to themselves, developing less of an ego.
Sort of God doing something.
Right. So basically God gave them this music. It was just given to them on a higher level. They didn't make it. It was more or less given to them, and they were the vehicle. It was like the apostles who wrote the Bible. The words were not written by them. They were handed to them, and they used. They heard those words and they wrote them down in the Bible. The composer heard the music. Einstein, well, basically he just observed, or he grasped the ideas that were out there, given to him.
Okay, so from start to end, what is his message?
His message is that we should not be. We should try to find our.
He's talking about supernatural issues?
No, he's talking about actually stripping yourself of your ego. About an ego that's built up of things that happened in the past, things that the roles that you play, the things that you own. The way that people see you, it's not real. Those are just roles. So people identify. So I am the CFO of this company. That means that's who I am. No, that's not who you are. That's the role you play. So he says, become aware of the fact that you are playing roles, and these roles are not your true selves. Actually, these roles prevent you from being present, because these roles are derived from your past, and it will also and if you are not present, you have anxieties about the future. You live on things that you did in the past, and they distract from who you are. And the only thing that what you are is actually the person who is here right now, who's observing. If you are true to yourself, you don't have any filters, not by your status, not by how you perceive other people, their positions, their money, their success. If you're here in the presence, you see things as how they truly are. The moon.
This is not easy for understanding, right?
It's not easy to understand, but the concept in itself is very simple, I think. So it's just the concept is basically there's a separation between who you really are and your ego, and a lot of people make the mistake that they are the roles that they play. They identify themselves with the role that they play, that the position that they hold, the money that they have. That's not who you are. You are something much deeper than that.
That portion I don't understand. Position. Why is separated from position and he himself?
That's exactly the same thing as Confucius is saying. You should not be distracted by ego, by money, by status, and things like that. That's exactly the same thing.
はい、皆さんこんにちは、雲野です。今日はですね、雲野塾の研修のプログラムをご紹介したいと思います。で、こういうふうなホームページありますけれども、ぜひですね、一度中身をご覧になっていただきたいと思います。今日はブーキューブさんのスタジオに来て、この収録をしておりますので、中身はこういうふうになってて、今最近ホットなね、グローバルリーダーの定義など書いてあります。で、特に経団連が作成しました、留学すれば英語ができて専門性を持つというだけではですね、グローバルリーダーになれないとここに書いてありますようにですね、仕事ができる、専門性を持つ、英語ができるだけじゃなくてですね、私どもの塾ではリベラルアーツということと、それからもう一つは孫子の兵法、さらにはですね、日本の歴史というものを合わせて教えることによって皆さんが海外の欧米の方々と、もしくは華僑圏の方々と正々堂々と渡り合えるような人物を育成しようというふうなことを考えています。ここに次のスライドが出ておりますけれども、ここに書いてありますのはですね、さらに、私どもの雲野塾の中身につきましてはですね、欧米の資料しか使っておりません。また実際に雲野塾は英語でやっておりますので、英語の講師がこう話しておりますけど、学習はですね、日本の歴史をまだ教えてますので、学習の午後はですね、日本のプログラムをしております。で、以前はこれ有料だったので、今はですね、実際に会場費も取っていただいておりませんで、毎回5000円ということで、朝9時から午後5時までやっておりますので、ぜひ皆さんですね、ご検討の上ご参加いただければと。英語のできない方もですね、学習の午後こういうふうな研修をしておりますので、ぜひご参加いただければというふうに思っておりますので、よろしくお願いします。で、ここにさらにですね、グループ討議とか実務の勘どころを教えると書いてありますけど、実際には私が10年ほどですね、欧米の新聞とか雑誌等をですね、集めてきた、もともと英語のベースでございますので、そうしたものをですね、50セッションのテーマに分けて資料作成しております。そういうことで、世界のオペレーション、もしくはカントリーリスクも含めてですね、しかも世界のトップの方々に対してもいろいろな分析とか洞察をしてですね、議論をしております。そういったことも含めてですね、今後ともよろしくお願いしたいと思います。以上で私の挨拶を終えますが、今回のこのビデオの収録にあたってはですね、V キューブさんのスタジオをお借りしてですね、お時間を頂戴して、このビデオを作成させていただきました。よろしくお願いします。どうもありがとうございました。